Krishna Tulsi, Ocimum tenuiflorum, known in Hindi as Shyam Tulsi, meaning dark Tulsi, because it resembles the complexion of Krishna or Kali. Ocimum is Greek for fragrant. If you take out the simu, you get om. The plant has a special relationship to the sacred syllable om, and we'll examine that more during the seed planting aspect of this video. Tenuiflorum simply means slender flowers. It used to be known as Ocimum sanctum on account of its strong connection to spirituality in Hindu ways. Planted near doorways and temples, said that all things begun with Tulsi turn out well. Truly a manifestation of the Divine Mother on Mother Earth. In Hindu practice, there's a ritual watering every morning, taking a single leaf and chewing it up. It's a really amazing way to start the day. Recognition of God within. In Ayurveda, it's known as a rasayana. The rasayana are the life-giving plants that will increase the life expectancy and quality of life. It's used for driving away mosquitoes, for treating malaria, skin diseases, croup, and especially diarrhea, infant diarrhea or adult diarrhea can be life-threatening in the tropics. So it's a really good choice for that. Can be used either as the tea of the dried leaves or as the fresh leaves can be ground up and made into a juice, and even the seeds are used. They're a digestive demulcent. So there are many ways to use it, and it's often combined with other herbs, like for instance ginger and tulsi becomes an anti-nauseant, and you can even add in some curry leaf tree leaves to increase the anti-nauseant effect. And in fact, curry leaf tree, Maria Carnegii, is used as a substitute for Tulsi when Tulsi is not available. The wood is often made into necklaces that are used as a talisman to drive away evil and protect from lightning strikes. The juice can be poured in the ear, and then that becomes a cure for earache. In traditional Western medicine, we know it as an adaptogen. Helps you adapt to stress, whether from internal factors or external factors. Adaptogens are regulators. So, for instance, the plant is used for regulating blood sugar and will lower high blood sugar and raise low blood sugar. So it has that regulating influence. It's an antioxidant, antimicrobial, and anti-inflammatory. If you look at the essential oil content, it's up to 70% eugenol or methyl eugenol, which is oil of clove. If you've ever gone to an alternative dentist after a dental procedure, they'll often prescribe a drop of oil of clove to kill pain and as an anti-inflammatory. The oil of clove that's in Tulsi does exactly the same thing. Anti-inflammatory, pain relieving, and quite tasty, a little bit spicy. Also contains rosmarinic acid, which is a phenolic compound, and contributes to the anxiety, the anxiolytic aspect of the plant. If you are feeling worried about your taxes and you sit down and drink a cup of Tulsi tea, then it helps you do the math and be less in a state of worry. Also contains linalool, which is the same essential oil that is in lavender and contributes to the anxiety reducing aspect of the plant. Krishna Tulsi, what a wonderful, wonderful herb to have in your garden. I recommend it highly and will continue with the second part of this video in my office, where I'll tell a few stories, and then the sun will have completely bathed the landscape and we'll be able to plant some seeds. From the early days with the seed company, and here's our first seed catalog from 1990. We were Horizon Herbs back then. We had a particular modus operandi, which was to contact people internationally from South America, from Africa, from China, and from India to collect the main medicinal herb species from that area, bring them to the States, grow them out in our organic gardens, and re-disseminate the seeds from here. So Krishna Tulsi came up by the year 1992, which was 33 years ago, and appeared in our catalog at that time. We wanted to get the seed from India, where it's native and cultivated. So we contacted a grower in Dehradun, and he agreed to put together a shipment of Krishna Tulsi seeds for us. And from the beginning, it seemed like it was going to be pretty inexpensive. But then as the conversation went on, there was more and more added to the cost. And one of the things was a phytosanitary certificate, which was important for USDA. And another thing was postage was expensive from India. And so these charges kept getting added on. Now, Indian people don't do business the same way that Westerners do. Normally with us, when we want to buy something, we pay for the item, we receive the item, it all happens pretty much at the same time. But in India, it was necessary to pay up front for all these different charges, and then the seeds would be shipped afterwards. So by the time it came to paying for the Krishna Tulsi seeds, I asked the supplier, well, you're not going to bamboozle us, are you? And he said to me, oh, sir, there will be no bamboozlement. The seeds did arrive, and we cultivated Krishna Tulsi and have kept it alive for these many years, and many healing plants have gone out to the people in the meantime. Somewhat after that chapter, we had a couple of Indian people coming in to make a delivery. We were buying a refrigerator and they were making the delivery, and so the conversation happened to turn towards Tulsi, and we mentioned that they wanted to know what we do. We mentioned that we grow medicinal herb seeds and disseminate seeds out to the people. And they said, oh, well, like what kind of seeds? And we mentioned right away Tulsi, because we thought that they would appreciate the fact that we're working with Tulsi. And they said, oh, no, not Tulsi, Tulsi. It's not like Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's like Tulsi. And so ever since then, we've had a little running joke. Okay, Tulsi. Like, make your mouth into an O. And then the conversation continued on, and they said, well, we'd like to get some Tulsi seeds from you, because it's part of our religion to grow Tulsi and pray with the plant. And so we said, okay, sure, we'll give you a couple packets of Tulsi. And they said, oh, no. We're not allowed to take a gift. This is something that we must pay for. It's part of our religion. And so we said, okay, well, the packs are $2.25 a piece. And they said, oh, well, we don't have to pay the whole price. We can just pay $1, and that'll take care of our religious necessities. That's the end of that part. Here we are out in the sun. I've got my sunglasses and my Williams hat on. The Lamiaceae, the mint family, are famous for needing a little bit of scarification before they're planted. They don't necessarily need it, but they get a higher germ rate if you scarify. So what I am doing is I'm taking the seeds and I'm putting them on a seed cleaning screen that's too fine for the seed to go through. And then I'm just going to rub them on that screen, and that will scarify the seed coat a little bit and make it imbibe water better and create a higher level of germination. Sort of wakes up the seed, just basically wakes them up a little bit. So Tulsi is a light-dependent germinator. That is, it contains the protein pigment phytochrome, which acts like a on switch for germination when it gets in the light. The traditional way of working with the seed in sowing it is to put it in the palm of your hand and hold it up to the light and chant the sacred seed syllable Om. 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 Having thus energized the seed, I can plant it. This is a mix of potting soil and sand, 50-50, and I'm going to surface sow and then press the seed down into the surface. And I'll keep this warm in the light and moist until the seed germinates. A couple things about seed germination on Tulsi. I've noticed that in the wintertime, around winter solstice, if I plant Tulsi seed, it never comes up. That's my experience. And so I have to wait until sun return in February and March to start my Tulsi plants. If I start them in the fall, they will germinate, but then they just sit there as rosettes all the way through until February and March, and then they start to grow again. So I might as well not even bother to plant it in the fall. I just plant it in the early spring on up into the mid-spring. I can keep planting Tulsi seed. I also noticed that it self-seeds, and this occurs in the autumn underneath the parent Tulsi plants. Sometimes you can find millions of seeds having germinated there. And so that's another option in terms of propagation, although I find that it's kind of an inconvenient time to have small Tulsi plants. It is a tropical perennial. That is, if you keep it from freezing, it's going to continue on for several years. It becomes woody. They can grow quite large. They can grow up to 6 feet. But for all practical purposes, it's best to grow in temperate gardens as an annual. And the annual methodology is to start in the early spring and harvest your leaves around midsummer and harvest the seeds in the fall. Good luck with your Tulsi growing. Everything that's begun with Tulsi ends with good luck. And so I encourage you to incorporate it into your pharmacopoeia and always plant more seeds.